Hello everyone, and welcome to a really special GameCube game here. It's not the original one, it's actually the sequel to Super Monkey Ball. Get it? The sequel to Super Monkey Ball? You see what I did there? Anyways, yeah, Super Monkey Ball 2. So, this game is a stone cold classic. The original one is too, but it's really prickly, that one. But Super Monkey Ball 2, oh man. When this came out in 2002, the summer of 2002, it came out like right around my birthday. When I got this game, it was over, man. It was just, whew. I really got into this one, I'm not gonna lie. This game was hard, so you just have to like keep playing it and master it. All that good stuff, you know. So we're going to be going through the challenge mode here. If you want my thoughts on the story mode, I did a commentary for the Super Monkey Ball Deluxe GameCube version story mode, which actually contains levels that aren't in Monkey Ball 2, and now I'm doing this that only has Monkey Ball 2 levels, so they kind of complement each other. We're going to start off simple, so simple that I just completed that level. I didn't even have a chance to say anything. This one's got a little more going on though. It's called Hollow, but you can actually do a skip if you play your cards right with the speed and whatnot. You can actually go through it and get to the goal. I decided to take it nice and simple though for some reason. Well, I guess because I'm playing challenge mode and I actually have lives. In story mode you have infinite lives, so that's actually a really good way to practice levels and experiment by doing story mode first and then challenge mode. I don't think it matters too much for these beginner levels, but I mean, it is what it is, right? If it makes it a less bumpy road for you, I guess it'll be worth it in the long run, right? Yeah, Monkey Ball 2's beginner mode is it's certainly simple, but it's got a lot more going on compared to Monkey Ball 1's beginner mode. Playing them back to back really shows that. In Monkey Ball 1's beginner mode, there's only like maybe a couple levels that will really challenge the player, even if you're brand new to Monkey Ball, never played it before. You should be able to get through the beginner mode of Monkey Ball 1 without using anything. And with a little practice, you can get through without losing a life and unlock the extra levels pretty easily. One interesting thing going from Monkey Ball 1 to 2 is that the bonus levels actually have goals. I think some of them did in Monkey Ball 1, but they a lot more of them have it in Monkey Ball 2, which I think is rather interesting. And as far as aesthetics go, it started off in the jungle, and now we're going to the amusement park. The aesthetic order for challenge mode is different than the aesthetic order for story mode. I'm not sure why that is. I guess because they figured it fitted the narrative better, so they just kind of rearranged things. I'm pretty sure the challenge mode stage order and aesthetic order is the main one for Monkey Ball 2. So you'll notice that with certain levels, and if you go through the story mode, you'll notice that the levels are mostly in order with the challenge mode, but sometimes they'll take some levels from another set and sprinkle them in to fill in the blanks for the bonuses. Because obviously the bonus levels aren't in story mode, so you know. But I generally don't really have too much to say about Monkey Ball 2's story mode, like individual levels. We're coming up to the last two. I think the last two are a lot more interesting. The last one is probably the most challenging beginner stage across the first two games. Deluxe adds 20 extra levels, and I think some of those are harder than the final one. Anyway, this is Spinning Top. This is a level that can potentially throw you off. It just depends on your timing. You don't want to get too close to the eponymous Spinning Top. Then again, if you play your cards right, you can actually, if you position yourself right, you can get a bunch of bananas, because they'll literally spin right into you, but you gotta be really careful. And I chose to play as Baby because Baby is so adorable, but also because it makes sense to pick Baby for beginner, and I'm gonna be picking Mimi for advanced, and so on and so forth. I'm gonna be using a different character for each difficulty. There's 4 difficulties. There's beginner, there's advanced, and expert, and master. In Banana Mania, they changed the difficulties. Banana Mania is a sort of remake of the Monkey Ball 1, 2, and Deluxe, by the way. It's available on all modern platforms. But they changed the names from beginner to casual, and I think advanced to normal. But they kept expert and master, funnily enough. At least that's what I remember. It's been a little while since I touched the game. But anyway, yeah, that was Curve Bridge. I consider that the most challenging level between the first two Monkey Ball game beginner difficulties. Because it's long, you have the potential to time out, no guardrails or anything, so it's pretty easy to fall too. I actually have fallen out even recently because I tried to go too fast. I flew too close to the sun, as it were. Now we're getting to the beginner extra levels. In Monkey Ball 1, it had a lot less extra levels. The beginner had 3 extra levels, advanced had 5, and expert had 10. In Monkey Ball 2, every single difficulty has an extra 10 stages. Believe it or not, most of these levels in beginner extra are used in the story mode. These are the stages used to fill in the blanks for the bonuses in story mode. So levels like this one, Bumpy Check, that shows up in World 2, for example. But you'll notice that a lot of these beginner extra levels are kind of harder versions of levels you just did in the main beginner. Like, Bumpy Check is just a harder version of Bumpy. You know, just name one example. Monkey Ball 2 doesn't have as many of those kinds of levels like Monkey Ball 1 does, where Monkey Ball 1 will have like a certain kind of stage you run into in beginner, say, for example, or maybe even early advance, and it'll come back in a later difficulty or later on in the same difficulty. Usually not in the same difficulty, but like, there's a level called Diamond in Monkey Ball 1 in beginner, and then you go into the advanced version of it called Break, I think? Diamond and then Break. And Break is the harder one you run into in advanced, just to name one example. And there's also Exam A, Exam B, and Exam C. You know, those are in each of the 3 main difficulties of Monkey Ball 1. Monkey Ball 1 has a Master difficulty, but Master is like completely its own unique beast. But anyway, yeah, these beginner extra stages in Monkey Ball 2, you'll probably be more familiar with them through the story mode, because it's possible that you may not have unlocked these, because I do think it is possible to go through beginner in Monkey Ball 2. You start off the game with only being able to have like 3 lives, and I think it's pretty easy to lose 3 lives and use up a continue. To unlock the levels, extra levels in Monkey Ball 2, you need to go through them without using the continue. Easier to do if you grind play points and get 99 lives, which I always do, because I want to be able to see everything the game has to offer, so I give myself the most lives, and I usually don't use them up before I get to the end, because I've been playing these games for years, so I'm decent at them. And then I just see everything the game has to offer, you know? Every single level, from the least painful to the most painful. This level's pretty cool though, Boulders, because you'd think you'd have to go through the middle, but actually this one teaches you can actually take it from a different angle. Just go across the sides, and then you'll get to the goal that way. It's pretty neat how that works out. It can be kind of long though, and I think when I did this, I was using a cruddy controller, even more cruddy than my 20-plus-year-old paper. So I had to be extra careful. Usually I'm able to do that in 15 to 20 seconds, and still within time. Quick Turn is one of those levels where you just hold forward. As soon as you start the level, hold forward. It looks like it's gonna be bad, but nah, you're gonna, look at this, you get through it quite easy. Yeah. Pretty nice level though. I mean, it's dead easy when you know what to do. This one though, I will say, I've gone a long time doing this level without losing a life, but then recently, I got nerves, and I did lose a life in this level. Once. So, it is what it is. Sometimes these easy levels, you get nervous in a long run, and you die. You get your continues. So this is the first extra level you won't be familiar with in story mode, because this doesn't show up in story mode. Birth. So, basically, it's a giant spear spurting out cubes, and you just hit a switch. Super Monkey Ball 2 has a thing for switches, which could be a mixed bag. You know, for the most part, I'm not really crazy about the switches. I got a pretty good cycle though. It's like a clear path straight to the goal, so that's pretty nice. Yeah, that wraps up beginner for Super Monkey Ball 2, all 20 levels, and yeah, if you play story mode, this is the most rehash of them all because all but one level you'll have already seen with different aesthetics to remind you. But that's meant to be a warm-up. I do consider it harder than Monkey Ball 1's beginner. But now we're going to go into the meat and potatoes. This part's just going to cover beginner and advanced. The next part is where everything's on the table. Next part, we're going to talk about expert and master. It's also going to be a really long part. So I hope I'm ready for that. By the way, stay hydrated. We start off with Banks, which is really cool. I think I'm going to do a skip. Ooh, yeah, I tried to do a skip. And I almost didn't get it. And then I clutched it. And then I just kind of... I remembered I was playing challenge mode and not story mode, and I had lives, so I just had to play it safe. Mind you, if I have over 90 lives for advanced, I'm gonna make it without using a continue, just because. So advanced, in Monkey Ball 2, this is where you're gonna start seeing some pretty prickly levels. Not really for the first half so much, but I would say the second half, particularly the last third. So there's 30 levels, the last third. It's going to have some infamous ones. I like this one though, Hoppers, mostly because the aesthetic. It's just two white bubbles just floating around. But yeah, if you time it right, it's another one of those hold forward to win. I think depending on the version of the level though, there's a few different versions. You may have to stagger a little bit when you hold forward on the full screen. But once you figure it out timing, yeah, it's hold forward to win days. This is a coaster. This is a pretty fun one. You can maximize your speed, but if you're careful, like if you're playing challenge mode, you want to hold back just a tad. You know, I don't think anyone's going to hold it against you. But if you maximize your speed, you can get a lot of bananas. I managed to do that once or twice. But you really have to focus on your control stick position, for sure. This is another bonus level. It's not really much to say. It's pretty similar to the first bonus level, or I guess the only bonus level in beginner mode. They add like a little path at the top. It's like a bigger version of it. So we're still going to be going through the aesthetics in the same order, which is adapted from Monkey Ball 1. We go through the jungle, we go through the amusement park. We're going to see two more aesthetics though, which is pretty nice. But in the story mode, the amusement park is actually World 5, which I thought was interesting in retrospect. It's meant, you'd think the amusement park thing would evoke easy stages. The stages you do in story mode in the amusement park World 5 are the first 10 levels, well, first 9 levels from expert difficulty plus 1 beginner extra one. So it's actually easier than the world before and after, so it is still a breather. Gravity Slider's pretty iconic. I mean, it's also hold forward to win, but at least it looks cool. You know? And this is one of the switch stages that I actually don't mind, particularly once you figure out you can do it when it's at max speed. Because a lot of these switch stages, they'll start you off right on top of a fast forward switch, and then in some cases you're kind of forced to go back behind the starting point to hit the regular speed button, which is just kind of annoying to do. And I've seen some people complain about these types of levels in Monkey Ball 2 and why they might prefer Monkey Ball 1. And you know what? I still prefer Monkey Ball 2 over 1, but I can see the argument. Some of these switches are they're so ridiculous that I've tried to come up with ways to get through the levels without having to go backwards and waste like 5 seconds to hit the slower switch. I've been able to do that with some of these levels. Look, I'm doing it here for totalitarianism. I think I pronounced that right. I forget what that is. I think I looked up the definition of it one time, but I cannot think of it off the top of my head. This is a pretty annoying bonus though, because there are bottomless pits everywhere, so you kind of have to chase the, I honestly named the leveler. You try to go for the goal, but man, you try to keep up with it, you're gonna run into a hole. Anyway, next aesthetic is one of my favorites, the underwater aesthetic. Funny thing is, Monkey Ball 1 and 2 have underwater aesthetics, and both of them also have banger soundtracks. But I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret about the music tracks for these underwater levels. So, there's a GBA Monkey Ball game called Super Monkey Ball Jr. I don't know if I'd recommend you guys go out of your way to play it, but look up the soundtrack for the underwater level there. It might low-key be the definitive version of that track. Anyways, Reversible Gear is another iconic Monkey Ball 2 level. You have to wait for the right cycle, you have to be in the right position to get into the goal, and I don't think I got the ideal position here, but I got close. Because there's actually several different positions you can take. I got used to one specific one, but I go so long without playing this game sometimes I just forget and I have to find it all over. But it's not a hard level. It's one of those levels where it's hard until you figure out what to do. You know what to do, it's actually pretty brain dead easy. This one, maybe not so much, stepping stones, because you gotta be careful about when you fall, you might bounce onto you might bounce near the holes, and the holes might trip you up, bounce you off the edge, or you might just fall through one of the holes. It's kind of fun. This one is kind of sort of a follow-up to Hoppers, because this one is called Dribbles. You have a lot of bubbles just dribbling up and down all over the paths. I think I have done this at the normal or fast speed before, but it's kind of tricky because some of these bubbles move faster than others. It's like at the fast speed you can still get through these pretty quickly, but there's a couple of them that move so fast that you might have to start moving in anticipation of it. So I generally just go for the regular speed and I try to just go as fast as I can. I can do it in under 40 seconds. Getting the time bonus is a different story though, I suppose. This is a pretty nice stage, URL. And fun fact, the actual URL address that's on the pusher thing, the pusher block, used to be valid. But it probably hasn't been valid since the mid to late 2000s, if I had to guess, unfortunately. And I am recording this in 2024. So it's been dead a lot longer than it's been alive. This is another favorite stage of mine for Monkey Ball 2, Mad Rings. This is one that gives you 3 goals you can go for. I'm showing off every level, so I only go for the blue one. I still got smacked by a ring. That's pretty fun. And then it's followed up with another really relaxing Kirby options. It's only relaxing if you go for the thickest path. But on the thinnest path, look at all those bananas. Ooh, banana. There's your Donkey Kong 64 reference. For the funsies of it. You know, it's pretty nice that there's like 3 different monkey-related video game series and they're all actually really good. Donkey Kong, Super Monkey Ball, and Ape Escape. And funnily enough, it's like a Nintendo, a PlayStation, and a third-party series. How about that? But anyway, Twister's another fun level. It's another one you want to try and brute force. This one is called Downhill. It gets renamed to Cascade in Monkey Ball Deluxe because there's a level from Monkey Ball 1 that's called Downhill and also has a harder version called Downhill Hard. Get it? I guess it's a nod to all the Tony Hawk fans that play Tony Hawk's Downhill. I think that's one of the newer ones that you don't want to play, actually. You just want to go for the ones that have either the Pro Skater name before 5. You don't want to play Pro Skater 5. And I think Underground. I believe those are the only ones people will recommend you. But anyways, funny thing is, I just mentioned Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and we have a bonus level that's kind of like a skate park, because you're going to have ramps. I run into it because of depth perception. But you have these basically skate ramps. You have to kind of like, yeah, I go for the banana bunches, so I don't go for the singles, I go for the banana bunches. I kid you not, when I was doing this bonus level, I was recording this, I had like music from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater playing in my head. From Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 specifically, because I played a lot of that one, particularly the demo back in the day for PS1. Although, funnily enough, I might be more familiar with like skateboard-themed minigames and other games like Spyro 3. Anyways, we've got a new aesthetic here, the boiling pot aesthetic. Although you may not catch on right away that it's a boiling pot unless you played story mode. This is actually World 6, and the underwater one is actually World 3. So there's a lot of flip-flopping going on here. In story mode, in advanced, you go through jungle, amusement park, water, boiling pot. In story mode, that's World 1, 5, 3, and 6. But yeah, this is the part of the difficulty where we're going to run into some infamous levels. This isn't one of them, this is a giant comb. It's a pretty cool level, but it's pretty clear what you got to do to get through it. You do have to be a little fast, but not really. If you just like keep a pretty consistent movement where you go forward, stop, you can make it through just fine. You can even try to brute force it, but I didn't want to risk it because it's challenge mode. Pretty far into challenge mode as well. Even though I'm using over 90 lives, I tend to try and show you all, people that watch this, good habits to have if you're trying to unlock the extra levels. So I may have over 90 lives, but that's just like to make things easier on my end as the one playing the game and showing off the content. I could probably go through advanced with like 10 lives in Monkey Ball 2. Monkey Ball 1, you have to go through its advanced difficulty without losing a single life to unlock the extra levels there. I don't know if that's harder or easier than going through Expert without using a continue. Might still be easier, but it still makes you think. Anyway, I don't have anything to say about that level. We just did, and then this one. Funny thing is, this one and the other level we did earlier, Beehive, are both levels you can potentially brute force. This one is easier to brute force than Beehive, though. Beehive, you may have to move your stick in other ways. But, here we go. So it's actually not even the last third, it's like the last 6th of advanced difficulty. Launchers is a pretty infamous level. It's really hard to line yourself up with these launchers. You gotta get yourself up on top of the tower, use the mini-map to help position yourself, and you get yourself into the goal. This was actually first try for me, which I was shocked. I expected that to take several lives off of it, but it didn't. That's pretty cool. And then you have a couple levels in between this one. The final level of Advance is also pretty tough. I don't know, some people might debate whether it's harder or easier than Launchers. It's one of those levels where if you know what you're doing, it might be easier actually, because Launchers, you're not really focused on cycles or timing, you're just hoping on the physics. This one can be tough. This is called coin slots. You see, I lose a lot of lives here because I was trying to trial and error how to figure out what time you gotta hold forward to hit the right goal that you want. And I don't want the green goal because I want to show off on the levels. So I make sure I hold forward to reach the first blue goal. Just go back through this video and check the timing of it and you are good. Seesaw Bridges is a deceptive level. This one doesn't seem hard, but when you actually go through it, it can be hard because you gotta go through the seesaw bridges a certain way. Otherwise, you could get yourself in a position with the seesaw where you'll just fall off and then there's like nothing you can do about it. So it's particularly this final seesaw bridge that you gotta worry about because it's got big walls strewn about. You go at it from one side, go to the other side, you swerve like a snake, and that's how you get it. Really tough to get time bonus on that. Let's move that behind us because we've got Arthropod. I like the stage a lot, but that was after years upon years of experience and figuring out the timing. So in this version anyway, you have to wait until about the 40 second mark and you hold forward then. You gotta be careful though because it's a bunch of rings that the Arthropod is moving around on. There are gaps. You have to keep speed and go over the gaps. Be very careful and make it to the goal. You can try to brute force it. You can try to like go fast and go for the goal when it's at the bottom of the structure. Only really recommended for speed. Alright, now we're going to move on to an interesting set of extra stages because none of these are in the story mode. So when you get here to Advanced Extra for the first time, which might take a couple tries. Don't blame me. Don't feel so bad. These can be tough, especially with launchers and armor body. I don't think I even reached these stages until I unlocked a bunch of lives my first time through. And since these aren't in the story mode, these were all new to me. It was a really surreal feeling, both for this and Expert Extra as well. So, we'll be talking about that next time. All of the best stages in the game, man. Like, oh, wait. But anyway, auto doors can be slow, but it's still pretty chill. Get through it with the time. I've never done that for the fast speed, so I don't know. Heavy Spear, this is another deceptive one. It doesn't seem like it'll be that hard, but first of all, getting to the actual platform, you might need to build up your speed just to get on the first platform, which is kind of crazy. And then when you do, you gotta be careful with the spear. Watch yourself and you get to the goal. But it's not as easy as it looks. I made it look easy. It's not as easy as it looks. And stagger, which is one of those words that I didn't know the meaning of when I first got to this level, but I know what it means now. It's basically just to delay something a little bit. With this, it's like you gotta wait for the right timing with the platforms to delay your movement. You can't just do consistent movement here. You gotta wait on the platforms because you are staggering. The last part, though, almost looks like pieces of the pizza, so I do not recommend playing this level if you're hungry. It's probably gonna make you crave a pizza. I recommend meat lovers. You can't go wrong with that. And if you're a vegetarian, see if whatever pizza place you like has something called a garden pizza, and that's also really good. It's a good thing I'm an omnivore. Anyways, this is a pretty funky level, UFO. It's another one with a switch. Go figure. It's almost like we're playing Monkey Ball 2 or something. But you hit the switch, and then the goal shows up. You do have a time limit. If you don't get to the goal fast enough, it'll start all over, and you risk not being able to beat the level within the time limit. Ring Bridges. This is a hidden gem. It's a pretty nice level here. Kind of a follow-up to a level from Monkey Ball 1 that's called Curves, I think, in Deluxe. And yeah, this is a harder version of that for sure. But the ring bridges themselves, the reason this is hard is because you have to jump from one bridge to the other, but if you jump at the wrong angle, you can actually bounce off or slide off pretty easily here. That's probably why it's an advanced extra and not, regular advanced. Okay, so here's a level that's an advanced extra, but I've actually seen a bunch of people online say this is actually like master difficulty hard. And I just, what? All you gotta do here is just hold forward for the most part. Not all the way, because then you might overstep yourself. You just gotta nudge yourself towards the goal. You get 60 seconds to do this. And I'm just like, people consider this to be a master difficulty level? I don't know, man. Maybe it is a little hard for advanced and extra, but master difficulty? I don't know if I agree with that at all, gee. And Meat-A-Lot. This one is actually based on Middle Jam and the Jam levels from Monkey Ball 1. They're called in Deluxe, where you're basically following behind a bunch of bumpers, and Speedy Jam is a lot harder. Fixing that. Long Slider. Ooh, man, this one's fun, actually. There is a follow-up to this in Master Extra, and that version of the level is evil. I do not advocate for it, but this one's alright. But I know it looks kind of weird because it's sloped, but if you position the control stick the right way, it's actually not that bad. Make sure you hold back so that you don't bounce off near the end, though. You're pretty good. And this is also a level where you can try to brute force it by jumping up really high and just trying to aim for the goal. A lot easier said than done. A lot easier said than done. And then another Switch-themed stage called Grid Bridge. It's pretty good. Maybe a little on the easy side. It's really not hard because you have to find the right path, and it's a grid. So if you find one path, you just go through it. You're pretty good. look at this. I go do that. I do that. There are only certain parts of the structure that can get you to the goal, but it is what it is. And for the final level, it's Teapot. This is like, this is a, you gotta be at the right place at the right time situation, and this is the right place, right here, and that is the right time. Hope you guys enjoyed. Next time we will be covering Expert Extra, Master, and Master Extra. And yes, there is a Master Extra in Monkey Ball 2. I need to recompose myself. You all have a very good day. Enjoy the ending.